What's good? Welcome to Your Wits End. I am Head Witch Lynsi of Crystal Case Apothecary, and at Your Wits End, we talk about just what the hell is going on. Like, actually, I know, especially now, there are people who just cannot come to terms with what the hell is going on in this reality, in this world. It really is shaking people up, and people are freaking mad. They're mad, they're in despair. Um, some people are in apathy. As for myself, years back, I was more angry than I could even articulate in words, like seething anger where I could take out almost anyone, and I would just be wishing that someone would try me because I was so angry and upset over what was going on in this world. Nothing made any sense to me. And I mean that on multiple levels. Everything from insurance claims to church. None of it made a lick of sense. And I was quite literally at my wits' end. But it's oftentimes when we are at our wits' end that we are open to another point of view, open to growth, and just open to something new. And understanding that maybe we don't have the full picture. And so that's what Your Wits End talks about here. We talk about the full picture, the macro and the micro. I am a Sag moon and a Sag rising. So truly, like when it comes to like, shooting a bow and arrow at something that is a long ways away, a very long ways away, I'm able to take something from the micro, connect it to the macro, take something from the macro, connect it to the micro. And it's in that framework and that way of engaging with reality that we can find the solutions and find the answers. It can be really one to one. In the micro, we have the same dynamics that happen in the macro. And I think when you zoom in and can apply it like that, you get some really fun and really transformative and really exciting revelations. So I'm glad you're here because that's what it's all about. And I promise you, you are not the only person at your wits' end or at the wits' end. This is where distortion ceases to be. We are stopping distortion in its tracks. And I like using the word distortion because it gives you a great visual. You could say that the world in which we live is full of distortion. It's very distorted. It's not in the right order or the highest order or the order that serves people's highest and greatest good. Similar to how you can't perform open heart surgery without first understanding the body after going through like different initiations, right? Like first you get a general understanding of the body, and then you get a more detailed understanding, and then you move up and you learn about the heart, and then you have multiple tiers of knowledge that form a foundation and a structure that allows you to then perform our open heart surgery. We can take that same kind of principle and apply it to all of reality, right? It's like you can't expect to flow and function and be in right relationship and move through our reality with as much ease as you could have if you don't first understand the foundations of our reality. And I'm not talking Newtonian physics, I mean universal law. That's what's been like, swoop, like taken away from our everyday lives and our everyday interactions. No one is really at this time walking around with a true understanding of their own power, how they exist in the world, what it means to be incarnated in a body, what a soul is. These are things that are still just kind of thought of as woo woo, and that's very much by design. The good news is we're coming back into a place where understanding we have a soul and understanding that everything is infinite love and that there's always more than enough for everyone. And those kinds of um, like notions, those types of just like fundamental understandings are making their way back into our consciousness because people are at their wits' end of living in distortion. And it is truly all of our birthright to one, be free of distortion, and two, to just know the truth, to literally know the truth. So we are here in this point in time because people who came before us decided, you know, we're going to keep the truth for ourselves and we're going to out manipulate everyone else. Here we are. Fast forward, boop bop, here we are today. People who know the truth decided to out manipulate everyone else because they're boring. They're boring. It's stupid and it's boring. Oh, I know the truth, and so I'm gonna decide to be evil. I couldn't think of anything more boring, honestly, because I've always thought this way. What's the end game? And then I and people will come in and say, "Oh, the end game is complete and total control." How freaking boring. That's boring. I can't stress it enough. And so that keeps me asking, what's the end goal? Oh, you know all of these. It's so counterintuitive. Oh, you're so enlightened and know how to out manipulate reality, and you're using that to manipulate other people so that you can what? Feel good about yourself? We exist in a realm of distortion. There are multiple realms, there are multiple dimensions. The closer you get to source, creator, universal intelligence, all that is, the great divine, Jesus, Allah, whatever you want to call that singular source of creative consciousness that we all are, the less distortion there is. So we happen to be in a density where distortion is allowed to exist. Here's where it gets really fun. What is distortion? What is distortion? I like to start with the spoken word. Everything that exists on earth that is tangible, whether it be actually tangible or intangible, systems, invisible systems, or tangible objects. Everything existed first in the mind. In the mind, there is nothing that exists in our physical reality that was not thought of first. This is important because when we talk about what is distortion, distortion comes from us. Distortion comes from us. It comes from, we expel it. It comes from our beings. It comes from our body. So here's an example of distortion. Imagine me talking to someone else and I go, your hair is ugly. While some people may go, oh, that's just an opinion and they're entitled to their opinion. They absolutely certainly are, but we have to become familiar with just what is distortion. Distortion is also a spell. Literally, as you speak that onto another person, or as a collective of people from within themselves think and decide that someone outside of them is ugly, that's coming from the inside of their being. That's coming from the inside of themselves. They speak it out into the world to each other, to people who either agree with them or don't agree with them. And what we speak continues to exist in the field. That's probably the second thing. We are not existing in nothing. Air is not nothing. We exist in an invisible grid that holds the record of all that we say and do and our intent. And it is manipulated by what we say. Words are the original power. The whole sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is a distortion. Words absolutely hurt people. And you are not at fault if words have the ability to hurt you. But that's something else that we can get into when we talk about how to begin to mold reality to your will and not have other people's will mold you. That's something else that we can get into. So when groups of people come together and speak from the inside of themselves, some kind of distortion, which we are all capable of expelling, they say, we don't like your hair. And over time, that cascades and builds and builds and becomes bigger. And that idea that was spoken out of the inside of people, just like you, just like me, there's no difference. It is people that speak out distortion into our field, that records it, that grows and grows. And here's where I'm going with this. It will grow and grow such that the idea itself begins to be looked at as something concrete and of substance, when all it is are the insides of people who forget or who have forgotten. I'm taking out my earring because I think it keeps hitting my mic. Distortion is the outspoken word of those who forget that they are held and loved in the arms of Source, and that they are safe, and that they are always abundantly provided for. Distortion is separation from Source. Separation from Source. And so that's kind of the worst thing you can put upon someone, is to cloud them such that they don't remember or realize that they are always connected to Source. And not only are they always connected to Source, but that they are also a complete, individualized, fractal, or copy of Source. There's nothing else that anyone could ever be, as we are all made up of Source consciousness. So we all individually represent the perfect completion and fulfillment of Source. That's why it's almost silly when other people are like, people who feel the need to voice their own status that they are disconnected from source in the form of an opinion are people who are just that. They've forgotten that they are connected. And so they feel fear and they feel like they have to put themselves above other people because if they are not above someone else, then who are they? So back to distortion. Over time, distortion becomes bigger and it will mold over someone or mold itself over a whole slew of people such that they can no longer see or perceive truth, truth, clarity, divinity. Distortion prevents being able to see truth, clarity, divinity. Distortion over time looks like people walking around in what we like to call self hate or what we like to call insecurities or a myriad of other things that we tend to niche down and niche down and niche down. We're very good at looking at symptoms of a thing and continuing to go down from that. Do you see what I'm saying? The symptom is sadness. Oh, well, I'm sad because no one likes my hair. Well, that's because I'm insecure. And then that's because, and it just keeps going lower and lower and lower. I specialize in polarity and duality, so I like going up. We need to, what is driving people to their wits' end and what's driving people quite literally insane is the fact that we're not going up in our understanding. We keep niching down and creating these definitions that don't ultimately point to just what a thing is. A person can be sad that no one likes their hair because they are covered, they have been covered in that distortion. Their perception of self is distorted because if it were not distorted, they would wake up every morning and look at themselves and recognize that I am a complete fractal of source, God, universal intelligence, the most high, the I am, our great divine creator, and that is it. And I am beautiful and worthy and whole and complete, and no one can say otherwise to me because I know who I am. So that's the power of distortion. It's very powerful, but it's not more powerful than regaining the truth. Distortion is very powerful, but it's not more powerful than understanding what happens when you come back into right relationship with who you are and what you are and from where you come, which is where we all come from. Source creator. So, to people who feel like stuff is really fucked up, you're not wrong. Distortion has covered our earth because people in power decided to be boring. So, what can we do? We begin to learn the truth. And the truth is, everything is vibrating, everything is energy. We are antennas. Our bodies are literal antennas to different planes of vibration that hold different qualities of knowledge, that hold knowledge is held in different vibratory states, which is why when you might consider someone in a low vibration, they are sad. If someone is in a high vibration, they are happy, content, etc., etc. The biggest thing that I could share is that we all have the capability of commanding reality to work in our favor, and it is the previously created distortion that is allowed to continue existing because we have forgotten how to transmute distortion or stop it. Distortion will continue until it reaches the force that will stop it. And there has not been enough force to stop distortion. But that is changing. The more people come online all over the United States or all over the globe, the more people's lights turn on regarding what's actually going on. Funnily enough, that tends to happen when we are at our wits' end.